What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Perfect Jake. Hope we're all doing well. The Utah Jazz have finalized an extension with Markkanen. He gets 5 years and $238 million. It's $220 million in new money. I think he had about $18 million left on the final year of his contract. This year, he signed wherever he was last before Utah. I think he was in the Mitchell trade, so I guess Cleveland, and so technically it's a 4-year, $220 million extension, but he's now under contract for the next 5 years at $238 million total. So a huge contract for him. So he's ineligible to be traded for the next 6 months. That's the rule when he's signing a max extension like that. So he'll be with the Utah Jazz through at least the 2024-2025 season. So he'll be in Utah. I know Golden State was very interested in him. I talked a little bit about this yesterday when it came out that he was going to be signing an extension for 5 years, at least $200 million, and they finalized the terms earlier today. Apparently, the price is too steep for the Warriors. I think their final offer I mentioned yesterday was, from what I heard, was Moses Moody, a couple firsts, a couple seconds, and some swaps. It was Moody and a bunch of draft picks. Utah said no. They wanted so much. They wanted like Kuminga as well. They may have wanted Podziemski as well. They wanted basically the Warriors' entire core. Warriors weren't going to do it. They didn't want to include Kuminga or Podziemski. The first they were going to go with Moses Moody, and Utah just wanted more. It was never going to work, so they decided to extend him long term. Charles Barkley signed an extension with TNT. Well, not really signed an extension. A couple months ago, he announced right after the NBA, TNT lost the NBA starting after the season, they won't have the NBA. He said he was going to retire, but now he's changed his mind. He's not going to retire. He signed a 10-year extension with TNT in October of 2022. He's going to ride that out. So he's not going to retire. He's going to continue to do this. I'm not sure exactly how I'm doing. Obviously, TNT tried for a last-ditch effort. They matched Amazon's offer. This is a few weeks ago. But the NBA chose to go with Amazon's offer opposed to TNT. So after this year, it appears that instead the NBA is going to be gone. There's a whole lot of things that could happen. Maybe Amazon picks them up or something, or NBC, whoever scoops them up. Charles Barkley has his own production company. Maybe his own production company could sign them. But something that's not going to happen. I mean, Chuck just said, I'm not leaving TNT, and he still has almost 8 years left on his contract. I don't know if we'll about all 8 years. The guy's like 60 years old, might even be over 60 years old. So he might be in the 70s by the time the contract is up. But for the time being, he's going to continue to be with TNT. He did an interview a while ago, and he says he doesn't think that Ernie Johnson would ever leave TNT because he's always worked for Turner Sports. Gotta remember, Charles Barkley, Shaq, and Kenny Pippen, of course, were all Hall of Fame NBA players before becoming analysts, and then they just, then they got the inside the NBA gig. Ernie Johnson's obviously, he's a great historian. He's not a player. Obviously, he's just a broadcaster. He battled cancer at one point in his life, and Turner Sports is kind of all he's got. And so he doesn't think he'd ever leave. Obviously, he's been the host of Inside the NBA for God knows how many years, and he does the World Series sometimes in baseball, so he he'd leave. And Charles did say he thinks that Ernie would probably retire sooner rather than later. I mean, the guy's almost 70 years old. When it seems like I doubt he even do it another even 5 years might be even a stretch. So, and for Shaq and Kenny, who knows? Kenny Smith a while ago, a bunch of years ago, he did a couple of head coach interviews in the NBA. You think, maybe he'll get into coaching. Shaq is freaking loaded. He obviously was one of the greatest NBA players of all time, and he's done the inside the NBA. He's got a zillion commercials. He's a very smart businessman. He's got his hand in a bunch of different things business wise. So he's probably one of the richest professional athlete. He's made so much money since he's retired. Obviously, none of them need the money, but looks like inside the NBA will see after this upcoming season because TNT will no longer have the NBA after the 24-25 season. All right, so not too much else. I'm going to do my Madden ratings for the running backs, the top 10 running backs according to Madden. And I'm going to do my top running backs heading into this season. Let's start with the Madden ratings for the running backs. Number 1 was Christian McCaffrey. He's part of the 99 club. Not much of a surprise there. The guy's a stud. Nick Chubb's at 2 from 96. Delaware County's at 3 of 94. Dickel's at 4 from 92. Nixon at 5 has a 91. Travis Etienne's at 6 with a 90. Josh Jacobs is at 7 with an 89. Aaron Jones at 8 with 88. Kenneth Walker is at 9 with an 88. Isaiah Pacheco is at 10 from 87. Honestly, I did not agree with a lot of these rankings. Yeah, Raheem Mostert had 86. Mostert's always been a productive back. He had 18 touchdowns last year and over 1,000 yards. And some of the guys they have ahead of him, Pacheco, who I think is very good, but does not be the most productive. Kenneth Walker battled a lot of injuries last year, as did Aaron Jones. I don't even think Josh Jacobs had 1,000 yards on the ground last year, missed time of injuries. Etienne took a step back after a strong year before. Nick Chubb played a couple of games last year. Guys come up with career-threatening injuries. Like his third major injury of his career? He tore his ACL when he was in college last year at Georgia. I think his first or second year in the league, he tore his ACL again. And obviously he had the extremely bad leg injury last year, very early on in the season. All those guys are ahead of Raheem Mostert. That, to me, didn't make a lot of sense whatsoever. And him overall is Tony Pollard, who only know averaged 4 yards a carry last year. He broke 1,000 yards. Taylor's at an 87. I mean, Taylor obviously battled a bunch of injuries last year. You have the contract issue. But the guy was pretty much a stud when he was healthy. The year prior did have a lot of injuries. The year before that was almost at 2,000 yards and might have won MVP if he didn't get hurt. So to have him 87, I don't hate that rating, but to have him below Isaiah Pacheco, Kenneth Walker, Aaron Jones, Josh Jacobs, and Travis Etienne, I don't know. To me, Etienne's a little high. And Jacobs a little high. He's always been a little bit of an overrated back. He's a solid back. Besides the 1 year we led the league in rushing a couple of years ago at over 1,800 yards. He's been a guy who gets you 800 to 1,200 yards. He's a decent back, nothing more. Jones is still a good back and goes underrated pickup by the Vikings this offseason, especially stealing from the division rival, the Packers. But 88 might be a smidge high. Walker, I like the talent on the kid. He's pretty good back, but he's had a lot of injuries his first couple of years. You think you got Swift in 85? Is Swift better or worse rather than Aaron Jones, Kenneth Walker at this point in his career? You had Kyron Williams at 84, over 1,000 yards, and he missed like 6 games last year. Paul had an 84, gave over 1,000 yards. He had like 80 catches last year as a running back in that just horrendously bad Jets offense. Even Jimmy Gibbs at an 84. Madden has always kind of favored the older players. You look at the quarterbacks, CJ Stroud's an 81, Dak Prescott's a 90, make that make sense. Look at the running backs. Also, Chubb. Look, before the guy got hurt, the guy was probably the best back in the league. At worst, he was the second or third best back. After that injury, the guy's like 30 years old, maybe 28. Should you really be at 96? I don't know. To be honest, there aren't that many great backs in the league. Running backs so plug and play. It's why none of these guys want to get paid. None of these teams want to pay these guys. You look at after McCaffrey, is there really like an amazing back like that? Chubb, if he can return to form, he absolutely is. We don't know if he'll do that. Derrick Henry, playing a little bit. He's now 30 years old. Barkley's got the injury concern. Dixon's starting to decline a little bit, though he's still very good. Etienne's a good back. I won't say he's great. Same thing with Jacobs. Jones is declining a little bit, but he's still a good back. Walker's a good back. Cameron's really good, but he's got injury concerns. Mostert's always been a good back. He was first true great year last year. Cameron was great last year, but it was only 1 year, and yeah, the injury concerns. Hall's really good, but also the injury concerns. Gibbs is only played 1 year, though he wasn't very good, so. Cameron's only like true stud to me. We don't know Chubb with the same. Henry's kind of slight backseat to what he was a couple of years ago. There's plenty of good backs. But, I'm going them less here. Like, these rings are really bad. Robinson's an 82. That seems really low. I do not think he's worse than Najee Harris, who to me is an above average running back. And John obviously was used very often last year by Arthur Smith, and his numbers didn't pop up the page like a lot of people thought. A lot of people took him first overall in fantasy. That didn't really quite work out, but I think he's better than Jahmyr Gibbs. I probably have him ahead of Gibbs too, but G. Harrison, I meant to say. Alvin Kamara's an 85. Probably put him ahead of Alvin Kamara at this point in their careers. You could argue he's probably better than, I mean, the sixth best backcourt to Madden is Travis Etienne. Is he worse than Travis Etienne? Like, you want to say career-wise, okay, all right, you might have me there, but if you're picking the back, I mean, obviously down, 2 years down the line, you're out. I think it's pretty clear taking Bijan. But even right now, if Travis Etienne or Bijan Robinson are the two backs you could have to be your top back, where in real life or in fantasy for that matter, obviously fantasy, you want Bijan with Etienne now splitting carries with Tank Bigsby apparently this year, fantasy-wise. If it's an Etienne or Bijan, I'm going with Bijan. I'm sorry. Those running back ratings were a little bit odd. I mean, like I've never agreed with any of the Madden ratings. I said yesterday, I'm almost positive I do it on purpose to make people talk about it and so let people buy their game. But fans of quarterbacks were having Daka at 90 and 2 at 88 and CJ Stroud at an 81. That's probably rough because outside of Christian McCaffrey at 99, I'm not sure if I agree with really any of it. All right, so let's go through my top 10 backs for this season, and then we're going to wrap this up. James Cook I have at number 10. He had a really good year last year for the Bills. Bills been searching for a running back really since they drafted Josh Allen. Never really had one. They had Singletary for a while. That never really worked out. He never really broke out to the player that they thought he was going to be. Zach Moss, the kid that they drafted, he never really turned out to the player they thought he was going to be. They just couldn't find a back, and they drafted James Cook 2 years ago. Was used somewhat sparingly as a rookie, but last year really broke out and he really took the reins of the number one running back role. Going into last year, we weren't sure what was going to be him. And a couple other backs there. We weren't sure, they brought in, that Breida might have been in that room. There was somebody else in that room too. I can't remember. That we thought, not Chase Edmonds. It was somebody else. We thought, he could take the reign. Never really. Cook ended up taking it and running it. He had a very good year last year. And he, to me, is and then come back from the league. Like I said, there aren't that many really good backs in the league. Number 9, I have Tony Pollard. He didn't break out and become a superstar like we all thought he was going to last year, but the guy was decent. He had over 1,000 yards last year. He's a good back. He's a decent pass catcher as well. He's a guy who'll give you, if you give him a good offensive line, he'll give you 1,000 yards or so. He'll catch 40 or 50 passes for 400 yards. Not the best red zone guy in the world, but he's to me he's a solid back. I like him a little better when he's splitting carries. He was more effective when Dallas had Ezekiel Elliott to kind of water him down. That's why I think he'll be a little more effective this year in Tennessee because they have Tyjae Spears opposed to last year in Dallas. It was really nobody. Rico Dowdle wasn't used very often. Deuce Vaughn was very sparingly used. So I think I don't know if you're a fantasy football owner because he's getting less carries. Something off the way. I'll get the fantasy football stuff as it gets a little bit closer in a few weeks. Just keep your eye out for that. But Pollard overall is a back I think will be more effective, football wise. So I have him at number 9. Where I have Bijan Robinson. I expect him to be a lot higher on this list next year. The guy clearly is a study, stud Texas, coming out. The guy's got it all. I mean, he's great when he's a running back taken 8th overall and not so for the most part we had a problem with it. There's nothing really you could say about it. The guy's a great player. The guy's a stud. He's a natural one runner. He's a beast out of the passing game. There's a chance to be a stud in this league. He was just miscast last year by Everett Smith. Now that we made the coaching change, I don't know about Raheem Morris, how good of a coach he is when he knows about offense as a defensive guy, but the opposite corner there is now Zach Robinson, who I like. From what I've heard, they're going to make him more the vocal point of the offense. They're excited to see what he does. I have him as 8th best back, and I could easily see him being top 5 next year. And in fact, I expect it. Number 7, I have Breece Hall. Some people might think I have him a little bit high, but I'm a little biased as a Jets fan, but I think this guy is great. Obviously, the injuries are concerned. He tore the ACL his rookie year, but was healthy last year after he came back off the ACL. The guy's a beast. Just up the line, it's been so bad since he's got there. But when if you let him, if he gets through the first tackler, the guy's gone. His speed bursts are crazy. He's got incredible speed. With the ball in his hands, he's really really good, and he's a great pass catcher. Yeah, I think he had 76 catches or 86 catches, something like that last year. with one of the worst quarterback situations in the league, behind one of the worst offensive lines in the league, and the worst offense in the league. So the guy's really, really good. The only thing he gets as much love is because, I mean, he only played 2 years, only hasn't played a full season yet, and the Jets' offense has been so pathetic that, you know, he kind of goes unnoticed. But I have him at 7. At 6, I have David Montgomery. The guy is really, really good. He was always solid in Chicago when he was healthy, but he can never have to stay healthy. He really broke out last year, had a great year for the Detroit Lions. And I have him as the 6th best back. Or was he 10, 9, 8, 7? Yeah, 6th best back. Almost miscounted. Number 5, I have Joe Mixon. You think, is Joe Mixon really a top 5 back? Again, not that many great backs in the league right now. I didn't have Nick Chubb on the list. I just don't see him. I mean, the guy, he tore this ACL in his first year, his last year at Georgia. Tore this ACL like his second or one of his first years in the NFL, and now he pretty much snapped his leg in half last year. He's got to be what? At least 28? Don't see him being the same. I'll still have Saquon on the list. I think Saquon's also a little bit overrated. He's had his rookie year, and 2 years ago, he was a beast. Every other year, he's had a lot of injuries, and it's just been good, not great when he's been on the field to me. So I didn't have him in the top 10. Bit of a hot take there, but 5, I had Mixon. Getting a little bit older, but he's still a very good back. He's still a solid runner. Can get you about 1,000 yards, and he's a really good pass catcher. He's going to be great in that Houston offense because of how good the passing offense with Stroud and all weapons they have. You know, it's going to make running the ball very, very easy, and he's another weapon in the passing game. I think he'll be very good. He's still a very good back. Mixon at 5. At 4, I have Jahmyr Gibbs. The guy was an absolute stud as a rookie last year. A lot of people, including myself, were a little ripped a couple eyebrows when he was drafted from the first round at 12. Like the Lions traded back together. Might as well just stay at 6 and take Bijan. You know, he possibly could have got him in the second round, but he proved a lot of people wrong. The guy is just an absolute stud. Lions, to me, have 2 top 6 backs in the league. At least 2 top 10 backs in the league. Can't put either of those guys past number 10. The running game's really good. The offense is really good in Detroit, and Gibbs is an absolute stud. Number 3, I have Kyren Williams. That was a stud last year. You know, a lot of injuries, missed like 6 or 7 games. When he was healthy, he was an absolute beast. He ran for over 1,000 yards in like 10 or 11 games. The guy averaged almost 100 yards or about 100 yards a game. That is absolutely insane. The guy's a superstar. Kyren Williams, I have at 3. At 2, I have Derrick Henry. I do think he's declining a little bit. He's not quite the same. He's not 30 years old, but look, behind the bottom 5 offensive line last year at 29 years old, the guy still had over 1,100 yards. The guy is still a phenomenal back. Baltimore's third line got worse from last year, but it's certainly there with what the Titans had last year. Obviously, with Lamar Jackson, the read option and the running game and the RPOs are going to be insanely difficult to stop. The Ravens the Titans, because of how bad their passing offense was, they had to use Henry 300 times a year. Ravens don't do that. They have multiple backs they like to use. Lamar Jackson's going to run 8 to 10 times a game plus himself. So they got a slightly better passing offense than the Titans have the last few years, at least. They don't have to use him pretty time. They can use him 220, 230, 240 times, maybe even less than that. I don't see him getting more than 220, 230 carries, which I think might help him. So even if his numbers aren't as gaudy, you know, I mean, he went from a guy that was, you know, always the best back in the league to a guy that's around 11, 1,200 yards. I can see him dipping below 1,000 yards, but he may even be more effective than he was last year because being used less in this way the Ravens have run their offense. I still think he's an elite back. Right now, second best back in the league. When I do this again next year, I do not expect him to be even in the top 5. Maybe I think some guys will come up, guys like Bijan Robinson and Breece Hall, maybe even James Cook, Jahmyr Gibbs will move ahead of him. Kyren Williams is obviously right behind him. But right now, I still think he's second best back in the league. Number 1 is Christian McCaffrey. I don't think it's that close. The guy's an absolute superstar. He's put together possibly a Hall of Fame career, especially if he gets a Super Bowl. The guy's amazing. He's a great runner. He is one of the best pass-catching running backs of all time. He's one of the best in the league right now. Superstar. There's a reason he's been in 99 club in Madden for a while. Superstar, and he's number 1 back in the league. All right. That's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.